During the holidays, the star of the feast is typically a roast turkey. But what do you do with all the leftovers? I've got some ideas. Today we're going to focus first on the bird. We're going to make a delicious turkey stock that is going to be able to be used in so many different recipes. But we're going to make a delicious turkey soup/stew with a homemade noodle dish called, what's it called? Galushkas. And you're going to want to have that dish in your repertoire. Let's cook. Hey everybody, and welcome to Cooking It Real. I'm Kathy, and I'm so glad you're in my kitchen with me today. Let's focus on the bird. Now, it may be Thanksgiving, it may be Christmas. I don't know when you might see this video, but if you have recently cooked a big turkey or a small turkey or even a large chicken, you might be wondering, what am I going to do now with this bird? Hopefully, you have some leftovers. If you've got a large family and they are ravenous eaters, you might not have a whole lot left over. But I can pretty much guarantee you that you will have your turkey bones, your turkey carcass. Once all the meat is taken off, once everything's been consumed, once everyone's left with a little goodie bag full of things for a turkey sandwich, you're still going to have those bones, and what are you going to do with it? Well, don't throw them away, because they are absolutely still full of flavor, nutrition, and usefulness. I'm going to show you what to do. All right, first thing you got to do is get the biggest pot you have. Here's mine. It's not actually the biggest pot I have, but it's one of the biggest. But it will absolutely do for what we're going to do today. This is a 10-quart pot. If you're unsure of how big your pot is, look on the bottom. It usually has that information right here. So you get your biggest pot that you have, and then you get your turkey bones. I'm very fortunate that my husband, Will, likes to break down the turkey. I mean, when he makes a beautiful turkey, and generally he is the turkey maker, he will show it off, and then he'll take it back into the kitchen and he'll take it all apart. He'll take the wings, the legs off, and carve the breasts and all that stuff. And then he'll present all the meat on a platter. And the bones, the carcass, will stay in the kitchen, and he'll save it for me. Now I'm going to show you what our Thanksgiving turkey carcass looks like. He put it in this bag for me, and this is basically what's left of the turkey. I had this in the refrigerator because it's just the day after Turkey Day. But if you want to wait a little while, if you're kind of like over all things turkey at the moment, you can put it in a bag like this and just stuff it in your freezer, and it'll be good for several months. Now let me show you some of the pieces that I have. All right, this is part of the thigh bone, okay? Now, he left some meat on here. I'm going to take some of the meat off. You don't have to. I still have plenty of turkey meat, but you don't have to have any meat on these bones. Oh, did I even mention what we're going to do? We're going to make a stock, a turkey stock. And I'll tell you what, if you love chicken stock, turkey stock is even better. I picked all the meat off the bones. There wasn't a whole lot, but I did get this little amount right here. That's not a bad amount. That'll go great in a soup. And I also wanted to show you, if you have, like, this is a piece of the back. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see, like, right in here? That's stuffing, okay? Sometimes we stuff our birds, sometimes we don't. This time we did. You might want to get that stuffing out. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but it might make your stock just a little bit cloudy, okay? But it will add flavor. So you do what you want to do about that. But once you have all your bones cleaned, and I'm just going to leave that stuffing in. Doesn't bother me at all. You get your big pot, put all your bones in it. And if you don't have a big pot, you only get a small pot, don't put all the bones in it, all right? You want to fill your pot up about, I would say, look at this. This is about 1/3 to 1/2 of the way full of bones, all right? Next step, water. Put your pot in the sink, add some filtered water like I'm doing here. My plan is to take the water up to right about here, about 3/4 full. I don't add any salt to my stocks when I first make them because I don't know really how I'm going to use them. If you know how you're going to use your stock and you're going to make just like one batch for one meal or one dish, then feel free to flavor it however you want. You can put in a mirepoix, carrots, onions, celery. You can add salt, you can add pepper, you can add whatever. But I'm just going to make a plain stock for right now. All right, that's good to go. I might add a little bit more water later. Now to the stove. All right, set that on, turn it on. I'm going to turn it on high. I want to get it up. And when it starts to get up to a boil, I'm going to reduce it down to a simmer, and we're going to simmer it for hours. Now, if you don't have the time to put it on your stove for hours, there's several other ways you can do it. You can put it in a crock pot, and you can do it while you're at work or at school or out shopping or whatever you're doing. Or you could do it in your Instant Pot. If you want to do it quick, Instant Pot's the way to go. If you want to do it while you're not there, crock pot is the way to go. But I'm lucky enough that I can spend the day in the kitchen, and I'm going to put it on the stove because, oh, the aroma when it starts to simmer, it's just like Thanksgiving all over again. Ooh, okay, so that is almost as high up as I want to go. I am going to take my skimmer and skim off just a little bit of this foam. You usually don't get as much as you would if you were using raw bones. And you don't even have to do this if you don't want to. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the foam. Oh, it smells so good already. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Bones. You're going to do your last bit of work. The turkey that gave its all. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to turn this down. I'm going to turn it to just medium. And it will just slowly bubble just a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And I'm going to do that for several hours. And when it's done, when I think it's done, I am going to turn off the heat, let it cool for just a minute. I'm going to take out the bones and dispose of them. I'm going to take the stock that's in the pot after it's cooled a little bit and put it in my refrigerator overnight. And then tomorrow, I'll take it out and there will be a layer of fat on the top. We're going to remove that. And then we're going to start straining and working with the stock. And then I will tell you about what my plans are for the stock. So make sure to subscribe and then you won't miss anything. All right. We'll see you later. Okay, so here we are, day 2. And this stock has spent the night in the fridge, chilling out. We got a little bit of fat on the top. I'll show you that in just a second. What we're going to do is we're going to strain this into a pot and start making our soup. So here's our fat on the top. There's not a lot. I'm still going to take it off though. Just use my strainer. Just pick it up. Look at that. Put it in this bowl. There we go. There's some left. That's not a problem. Fat is flavor. All right, that's good enough. All right, let me wash off my strainer and then we're gonna put this soup into this pot. Today I'm just gonna make enough for Will and I, so I'm gonna be saving the rest. I probably am going to be canning it. All right, I'm gonna switch sides here because that'll make it a little bit easier for me being a righty. And you've seen me do this before when we did our canned chicken stock. I'm just dipping into the big stock pot. I'm putting it through my strainer. I took out all the bones last night before I put it in the fridge, but there's still a couple of little chunky bits here and there. That's why you want to strain it. Here we go. I think that's going to be enough. I might add a little bit of plain water to that because I'm going to bump up the seasoning just a bit. All right, because we cooked this for so long yesterday, I did about 4.5 hours. It's a little bit concentrated, and so I'm just going to add I got a cup and a half of water here. I'm going to just start by adding a cup, and we'll see if I need more later. I put my stock on the stove, and now we're going to talk about what we're going to add to this soup to make it delicious. Now, normally I would chop up some onions, some celery, some carrot, and put that in there. I would add maybe some leftovers from my Thanksgiving if I had some green beans left over, or well, I do have some collard greens. I'm going to add those. But I found that I didn't have any more fresh vegetables left. I didn't have any carrots. I don't have any celery. I don't even have an onion in my kitchen today. Talk about being unprepared. It's like, well, I could have gone to the grocery store, but this weekend is kind of a zoo when it comes to being on the road with everybody traveling and shopping and blah, 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 blah. And I just decided I was going to go with something that I had. What I have is this. I have this jar of dehydrated vegetables that I dehydrated sometime last year. This is just it came from a bag of frozen vegetables, the carrot, peas, green bean, and corn medley that you can get in absolutely any grocery store frozen section. And I dehydrated it in my dehydrator. And I have this on my pantry shelf, and I'm going to use it in my soup today. So I'm going to measure out about a cup, and it's going to, well, maybe less than a cup because it's going to poof up in a big way. We'll see how it works out. And then I also do have some collard greens left over that I'm going to add. And then, of course, the turkey. And after I get these dehydrated vegetables in the pot and starting to reconstitute, we're going to start talking about how to make what's the word? Galushkas. That's the word. That's the noodle component. And we'll be back to that in just a minute. I just found a little baggie of carrots in my crisper drawer left over from my Thanksgiving crudité platter. So I'm going to cut these up and put them in the soup. Tiny job, tiny cutting board. Isn't this thing adorable? I love it. All right, carrots. Forgot I had those in there. Awesome. All right. I'll just go like a 1, 2, 3. A 1, a 2, a 3. All right, and off they go into the soup. Voila. Okay, and now for our galushkas. We need 2 eggs. And a 2. These are 2 large eggs. And I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of salt, maybe a little bit more. I haven't added any salt to my stock yet. And we're going to whip this up with a fork. And we're going to let it sit for a few minutes while I tell you about galushkas. Now, what I understand galushkas to be is a type of noodle. Some might call it a dumpling, but it doesn't have any leavening in it. So it's not similar to a southern United States dumpling, which has, self-rising flour like baking powder in it. But this originates in Central Europe in the area of like Hungary. And it's very traditional. It's basically, it's put in soups and stews as we're going to do today, but it is also made plain. They make these noodles, they make this batter, turn it into noodles, boil it in water, and then they drain it and use it as we might pasta, like macaroni or something like that, or even potatoes, and they put over it some paprikash or a soupy stroganoff type thing, and it's really pretty cool. It really is. I'm also going to add, just for the sake of flavor, this is totally optional, I have some white pepper. You can use black pepper, you can use no pepper, but I'm going to use like a little bit of white pepper, maybe about, oh, this is like 2/3 of a half of a teaspoon. So what is that? Like 2/3 of a half of a teaspoon. I'm going to put that in there too. That's just going to give it a little bump in flavor. We'll whip that in. And then the amount of flour that you add really depends on a couple of things. It mostly depends on the size of your eggs. Sometimes when you have a carton of eggs, even if they're all large or extra large or whatever, there'll be varying sizes in it. So the flour to liquid ratio is flexible. So I'm going to fill my cup with about a cup of flour, and I'm going to start by adding a good half of that. Half a cup right now. I know we're going to need more than that, but I'm just going to get it started. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop these into the simmering soup, and they're going to float to the top and make a tender and delicious noodle that once you try it, you'll think, I can think of a million different ways to use this. It's easier than rolling out pasta dough, but it is the same, because what is traditional pasta dough except for egg, flour, and salt? There you go. All right, I'm going to add more of my cup of flour. So now I've added about 3/4 maybe. And the consistency that we're looking for is kind of a goopy but slightly sticky dough batter. We don't want it to be like pancake batter. We don't want it to be stiff. We're kind of getting there. Can you see that? Can you see that? We're kind of getting there. We're almost there. I think I'm going to add in the rest of this flour. If you add too much flour, you can always add a little bit of water just to thin it out. All right. Yeah, I definitely do not want to add any more flour. Oh, this is almost perfect. Oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what I want. I'm going to try to get this flour off the sides, and then we're going to set this aside and just let it rest. You can make this ahead. Yeah, when it feels like you're getting a lot of resistance and it's like, all right, you see that? You see that? All right, this is what you want. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's kind of sticky, but it's still kind of, it can move. It's not stiff like something, you can't roll this out, that's for sure. And I'm going to show you how to put it in soup when it's time. But we're also going to get ready our turkey, and then we're going to take a look at our stock and see how our dehydrated vegetables are reconstituting. All right, look how well these vegetables have reconstituted. They look pretty good. They look brand new. Oh, very nice. Now, before I add anything else, and I could have probably added more of these veggies, but I still have the collards to add. I didn't add any salt, so I'm gonna grab like a hefty pinch of salt and put that in there. And then I'm going to add poultry seasoning. And when I say poultry seasoning, I don't mean any poultry seasoning. I mean the poultry seasoning, the best poultry seasoning ever, 150 years of tradition, Bell's Seasoning. This is made in East Weymouth, Mass, which is about, I don't know, as the crow flies, 5 miles from where I grew up. So, oh, it is the flavor of the holidays to me. So I'm just gonna, this is what our stuffing is flavored with all the time. I'm just gonna add about that much. That's like about half a teaspoon maybe. It's very fragrant and it absolutely puts every other type of poultry seasoning to shame. All right, let me get my collards. We'll get that in there. And then we're almost ready to start with the, what's that word again? Galushkas, galushkas. I'll get it eventually. Now, these collards also has a little bit of carrot and a little bit of turkey and some onions. So that's just how it was made on Thanksgiving. So that will add even more flavor to our soup. It's already cooked, so all we really need to do is warm it up. We're going to get things back up to temperature, and then we're going to start our galushkas. Okay, let's start making the galushkas. We take our dough. I have 2 teaspoons here. And what we want to do is we want to dip a spoon into the hot water, into the batter, and then we just want to push it off and into the soup. They're not even, they're not perfect, they're just sweet little somethings. Well, they're not sweet, they're darling. That's the kind of sweet that they are. And what we want to do is we want to cook them in this broth until they float, and then cook them a little bit more. And if you were doing this recipe and you were adding your fresh vegetables and you had, say, raw potatoes, you might need to add some more stock or water before you started doing these noodles, because the potatoes will take up a lot of the moisture. So, oh, look at that. These are going to be hilarious, and I'm going to love it. I'm making some big, I'm making some small. I don't know if you can see me taking them off the spoon. Let's see. Yeah, you kind of can. Sometimes I get so involved in what I'm doing that I stop looking at the camera. Usually I can't even see the camera because it's pointing away from me, the screen. So it's all fun, all well and good. I might not need all of this, but that's okay. I could save it in the fridge and make me a little bowl of, what's that word again? Galushkas? Oh my gosh. I'll get it right. Don't worry. There we go. Just make sure they're not clumping together. This is going to be good. And you know what you can do is, if you make the stock out of your turkey carcass, you can put it in your freezer, or you can pressure can it, or you can just keep it in your fridge for like a week, 10 days or so. If you're all turkeyed out, you know, you've had your big day and you've had your turkey sandwiches and you're just kind of over it for a while, give yourself some grace, give yourself some time, but have this in your back pocket. And then think about this, you know, if you don't have turkey, you can do this exact same thing with chicken, okay? And you could do this exact same thing with like pork. You know, you can make a pork stock, or you can use a bouillon and have little pieces of ham or pulled pork. I mean, it's very adaptable. I love me an adaptable recipe. You know that. Look at that. I think I'm gonna use it all. All right, last little dumpling. Come on, little dumpling. Get on in there. Hey, you beautiful thing. Look at you. Look at all these. Yeah. See, some of them are kind of big, so you want to just give them plenty of time to make sure they're cooked. Once they're all floating, you want to give them at least like 3 to 5 minutes. And at this point, you can add your turkey or chicken or whatever you're doing, because you don't want to really cook this too much more. It's already cooked. You just want to warm it up. and get everything together, going together. So make a little hole. We'll put this in. Boom. There we go. Everybody goes. There we go. Oh, this is going to make a great meal. This will be so good on a nice cold day. One of those hearty, delicious, stick to your ribs kind of dishes. All right, and that's it. Before we taste, I'd like to invite you to subscribe. And I hope you enjoy this channel. If so, give me a thumbs up as well. And here we go. This is our turkey. I'm going to taste the broth first. It's still kind of hot. I burned my mouth on Thanksgiving, my tongue, so I've been kind of delicate with it lately. Oh, that's good. That's so good. Oh, that is very good. And you know, the collards were cooked with a little bit of turkey and onion and carrot, and oh, that is adding so much to this. What I really want to try though is a galushka, and this one it's not too big. I might cut it in half though. Give it a try. You see that? Can you see it? Ooh, can you see it? I hope you can. I don't know. It's soft, but it's a little bit chewy. And oh, that gives it a very pleasant texture. Oh, I like it. And you know, you could flavor it however you wanted. If you wanted to add some of that poultry seasoning, if you can get Bell seasoning, get it. Actually, I used to have my family, once I moved to North Carolina and then Tennessee, I used to have my family bring it when they would come to visit because I couldn't find it anywhere in the stores here, and I still can't. But I found it online and I got a really good deal. And so I bought like 12 boxes of it, and that should last me another month. I don't know. But anyway, if you wanted to add some poultry seasoning or bells to your galushkas, that would be delicious. Or if you wanted to add some like smoky paprika or maybe a little more pepper, you know, something spicy, something to give it a little zing, that would be good too. There's so many ways you can go with soups and stews. You just got to make it your own. And that is what your family will remember, and they'll want you to do again and again. So I've enjoyed these 2 days with you, even though you've only been here for I don't know how many minutes. We'll see. But I hope to see you next time on Cooking It Real. Thanks for joining me. Bye, everybody. Mm.